Welcome to Round 1 Fight. This is your host, Harlan. We got...
Ty.
We got...
Michael.
And today's topic, Dungeons & Dragons, role-playing games, and the alike.
Wait. I fucked up.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't.
Okay. This is our third...
Intro. We thought we were going to round 4.
First one was a joke. Second one was... I don't know what. I just burped a lot.
Yeah.
You burped and shit yourself.
No. The second part was omitted. And anyway, today we're going to just talk about, if you don't know about some of these role-playing games, we're going to bring them to light. There's not much that's going to be talked about. And the rest, I figure we're just going to talk about our own experience during role-playing games, shenanigans, good and bad, and the alike. What the alike is, I don't know yet. I'm just going to label it that.
It starts off bad, but ends in shenanigans.
So what are we starting with?
Or it starts off, like, really good, ends terribly, and you just have a sour note the rest of the night.
That's also true.
That's fair enough.
Like with one of my friends that ruined D&D for another, but that's something later on.
So what do we want to start with?
Let's just start with the everyone knows it type of deal. It would be the most noticeable one, Dungeons & Dragons.
All right.
Been around practically forever.
90s, I believe?
Yeah, 80s would be the most accurate. Richard Garfield cracking those fingers and making a big old book. Was it Richard Garfield?
He did magic.
Fuck! It was Gary Gygax.
There it is.
Yep.
Ah! Sorry.
They even
I thought of the wrong nerd.
Futurama.
Huh?
They even reference him in Futurama.
Yeah, I know. I forgot the wrong nerd. Anyway, Gary Gygax.
Dungeons & Dragons began in 1974.
There we go.
Was bought by Wizards
Cracked
of the
his
Coast in
fingers,
1970
made a
1997.
fancy book, which was just a compendium you can use to pretty much play video games on tabletop. In all essence, if you like the RPG style games where you grinded with a bunch of people just for levels and stuff to become a powerful warrior, you did it on tabletop and you did it through role-playing with friends in person. I know that's unheard of nowadays.
What are you talking about?
People just meeting people in person.
We do that all the time.
Yeah, well, it's because we're old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Everyone uses, like, Roll20 now.
Roll20 is
that's
fine.
fair.
It just misses a personal feel to it.
Oh, it definitely does.
Oh, there we go.
My pizza timer?
Yeah, that's Ty's pizza timer.
We forgot to say, because we said this when we recorded the first intro, Ty's making a pizza.
We're making a pizza.
It's pizza
We
time.
record this in our kitchen, like real professional adults. And so we're making
Yeah.
pizza for lunch.
Name me one podcast that started super professional right out the bat under their 10 episode mark.
Joe Rogan Experience?
Shut up, he's not a real person. Anyway,
He's a robot.
I mean, have you seen those AI memes?
Woo!
He's practically a robot.
Where's the glove?
Him and Ben Shapiro.
Don't put that in there.
Don't put the Cyber Dragon in.
Michael's trying to put
No.
a Yu-Gi-Oh card in the oven.
It's not a Cyber Dragon?
No, it's not.
Anyway.
One of
Dungeons and Dragons, though. Not getting too off topic.
That was good. We let that go a bit.
Received a bit of backlash up until 2010. No, not 10. 2005. I'm trying to remember when Combine happened, because half that was blamed also on D&D.
Was that actually a... I don't remember that. Was that actually a...
I don't think it was directly referenced, but it did get backlash from a couple Christian parents.
Parents were
Because
just
they
saying
thought
it's
it was
demonic.
they thought it was
Oh,
demonic.
well, yeah.
It's they Pokemon'd it.
Yeah, and anything that's a spoiling of youth.
Combine was in 1999.
There you go. It could have been that. They could have just like
Pokemon was demonic.
Pokemon's demonic.
Magic was demonic.
Yu-Gi-Oh's demonic.
Yu-Gi-Oh's demonic.
His hair shouldn't be that pointy.
Digimon's demonic.
Yeah, you name it. Some Christian Karen has said it's demonic. But anyway, it's a fun role-playing game system. Most of these, when we're going to mention them, are just going to be their own system. It's practically all the same game. A couple variants in genre, but otherwise it's practically the same game with different variants on how to play.
Self-plug. A few weeks ago, we did an episode entirely on with Dungeons & Dragons in the OGL.
Yeah.
Go watch that.
Yeah, that'll give you not exactly reference on what we're talking about, but a good insight of what was happening recently and why people were fighting so hard to protect it. Because this game I said in that episode, I'll say it here.
Oh.
It's not so much a game anymore, it's a culture.
We're going to address that one right now on the podcast. Continue.
Oh, okay.
There's something I want to address.
I mean, there's not much I'm able to pull out. It's D&D self-explanatory other than tabletop RPG.
All the role-playing games are self-explanatory.
Yeah, but
They're all
still
just...
going through them as cool ones that we would play.
That one was episode 6, and this is currently episode 9 we're recording.
Yeah, so it wasn't
Nice.
too long ago, at least a month.
So, obviously we have a YouTube channel, and all of us have access to it.
No.
And sometimes we'll open the YouTube channel and see that Harlan has been watching just really weird random videos on this.
Oh, is there another one? That
Yes,
I forgot?
and this is the
we're
one I
addressing
want to
this
question.
right now. Yes.
What? And I'm going to horribly mispronounce this. You have a video on here that is 596 hours long of a Spanish TV show in its entirety, and you made it like 6 minutes in before quitting.
You know what happened there? I leave the podcast on in the background while I do other tasks.
Yeah.
And I think at that point I went to the bathroom, I came back, and my autoplay put it to that.
Why is your autoplay
on the
setting
Spanish
it to
TV show?
Clube de Chavos?
Because when you make a new YouTube channel, it fishes for anything to put together.
Why did it pick this?
I have no idea. Same
10 years
reason
old.
on the page I found top 10 fat guys who are good at wrestling.
That was one of the that was the original one.
That one I actually watched
Yes.
because I like repping my big guys.
That one I could believe. So, side note, I just want to point out this Spanish TV show or Mexican TV show, they're destroying us in views.
I'm not surprised.
Okay, so back to the episode.
Anywho, yeah, Dungeons & Dragons, multiplayer role-playing game. You play with a bunch of friends. You make cool characters, edgy characters, yourself on paper, quote unquote, or cringy or funny characters. I mean, that's about it. You have a DM who's a dungeon master who would organize the entire thing.
The one good joke I think I heard from your older brother. When
Michael's older brother.
Yes,
Yeah.
when he decided that he was going to make his character he was playing the DM. So he played, I forget the DM's name, but like let's just say it was Chris. He's like, I'm Chris. And then he basically just made the DM into his own character.
Didn't it end up working though?
No.
Oh.
No.
It was a bad joke. He was not good at anything, and it was like one of the only good jokes I think I've ever seen him.
Oh,
do.
there was another group of my friends where they did that, but they were successful, and that character never died.
Okay, it wasn't even D&D though. He did it in Dread.
Oh boy, yeah. You know what? I remember he did that with Paul,
I might have been Paul.
our other friend, who actually taught me how to play D&D at first. Him plus my friend Jones, I was just walking around like a baby freshman at campus, going, "What's happening over here?" And I waddle over. And
Harlan does waddle.
I do. I frequently waddle. I'm a waddle enthusiast.
Don't say
I
that.
could walk normally, but I like the waddle.
He's wearing shoes again.
I like the raccoon shuffle.
Yeah, because it snowed again. The raccoon shuffle's a good one.
We live in the north, so it snows here.
Yeah, and as frequent as I can, I like to wear sandals. Unfortunately, today it was thick-ass snow again. The same exact one as the last time. Anyway, D&D. They pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, do you want to learn how to play?" And I joined. Luckily, after the D&D club at that point pushed out a few other people that were giving the club a bad name. And I joined. It was pretty fun. At first, I played, because I didn't have a character, I played... he wasn't the DM, but he was playing in the campaign. He was playing a gnome who rode a turtle. And he offered to let me roleplay as the turtle. And fuck was that funny. He gave up all of his speed to have the turtle move faster, and I was a dick. It's like,
As you are.
Hey, Bobo, come here. And I just go eat the barbarian shoe or something like that. The first actual character I played was a lizard folk.
Of course it was a
Sounds
lizard.
about right.
Yeah, it was a lizard folk sorcerer. actually for the Pathfinder system, which segue to that.
We'll talk about Pathfinder.
Okay, I didn't know if we want to do the segue now because we talked.
Let's do our. So what are we doing here? Are we gonna go for stories for D&D, or are we just gonna run through a bunch of systems?
Run through a bunch of systems, then stories.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go into Pathfinder.
I mean, we could talk about some D&D stories before we go to Pathfinder.
No, let's go into Pathfinder then. We can save all the stories for later.
We're
we have a
figuring
ton
out
of
the
D&D
directing on
stories.
this live.
Yeah, we're definitely professional.
We have a lot of D&D
stories.
We're gonna start a Patreon. Support us on Patreon.
Join the Patreon.
Was that mint? Irish
Mint vanilla.
Mint vanilla shake.
Definitely professional.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Not here.
No, it's 12.
It's not even. It's 11:30.
Oh fuck.
We haven't even hit noon yet.
But anyway, Pathfinder system. I'm more familiar in Pathfinder.
So, real quick, Pathfinder is the largest competitor to Dungeons and Dragons.
Do you know why that's the case? I can give you a brief reason as to why.
In America or not America? Because I know why not in America, but in America.
In America. Or where did it start first?
I have no idea.
Okay. I from what my understanding is, it started as 3.5 had just finished. They started their fourth.
For
and
D&D?
then their fourth
Yeah,
edition.
I know you're going to talk about. Go ahead.
And then a bunch of players said, we don't like 4th edition.
Real quick.
It sucks. And there's a couple things we want to change from 3.5. Let's make our own system. And they did. And the best way I can describe it, and it's...
For reference.
It's a numbers-heavy version of D&D. Where D&D already has big numbers, this is even more numbers. This is a competitive person's wet dream in terms of D&D. Because everything is meant to be min-maxed. You're meant to min-max because you're facing min-max bosses. Like, in the book, you could fight a CR5. You're fighting the Elder One Cthulhu in Bestiary 5 for Pathfinder.
For reference, Pathfinder started at, looks like, 2009.
Yeah. I like the system because there's some fun fan-made stuff, and it's fleshed out in a fun way for me, where if I want to mid-max as a player, it's fun. I hate DMing it, though.
Before you continue anything, for people that don't understand how Dungeons & Dragons works, when we say something like 3.5 or 4th edition, there are additions to Dungeons & Dragons, and every edition...
Think of it like Minecraft update.
Kind of.
It's the best way to describe
every
it.
edition is going to change up the base rules, as well as adding in new rules and...
I'd take away change up, add update.
Well, no, because some of the rules do get changed.
Some rules get changed.
Not all, but some do.
They get updated. Just like in Minecraft, they would update something.
Some new rules get added, but mostly a lot of the new editions are about adding in new races, new classes, new...
subclasses, new items,
new monsters. That's what I'm trying
monsters.
For. So, at a real quick, there is first edition, which is referred to as AD&D or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, because the original book was just titled Dungeons and Dragons, and when it became its own,
wasn't it one of those choose your own adventure books to start out as, or
kind of, not quite, but kind of. It was more limited. So when it became its own thing, they called it Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So people refer to it as AD&D. That's essentially first edition. After first edition, or after Advanced Edition, which, like I said, that's kind of first edition. If I remember correctly, there isn't a second edition.
No,
if there is, they skipped over it really quick.
Well, I think his AD&D is supposed to technically be second edition. So I think it goes right to 3.
Oh, there you go. And 3 was the most well-received one at before 5th.
Almost. You're thinking of... Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is second edition. So yeah, so there was
I know a lot of people that still stick with 3rd.
No, you know a lot of people that stick with 3.5.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to get to. There's 3rd edition, and then there was 3.5, which came in a few years later.
Which is their most popular edition.
Yeah. There are people that still play 3.5 to this day.
There's nothing wrong with that.
People don't really go back too much before. You'll occasionally see like a nostalgia group, like, let's play AD&D, because they played it back in the day.
I have an AD&D book or a 3.5 book. I can't remember.
3.5 is still used to this day, though. They were then released 4th edition, and people didn't like 4th edition, and for the basis of why...
They did a lot of weird rule changes that were just bad.
They did a lot of weird rule changes. They did a lot of good rule changes as well that a lot of people forget about. But it was a lot more centered on combat than it was on role-playing.
Yeah.
So, people that don't like to role-play and are just in this for the combat, they found enjoyment out of 4th edition. And basically, Wizards found out that people are not really playing this for the combat. It's important, but most of the people are in this...
They want an even divvy up.
Yeah. There's
If
less
not,
people...
Slightly more roleplay.
Yeah, there's less people in it for the combat than there's the roleplay. And so when they learned that, and then they came out with 5th edition, which is the current one that's been going on.
Because as a player, and even as a DM, you spend hours making this character in terms of background, how his mannerisms are, how he looks.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and that's the majority of people.
Just to have him slabbed on the cobblestones in combat kind of sucks, and where you haven't been able to talk with him very much.
That's how at least in our experience most people do it. There are a few people that do just like the combat though.
Yeah,
and that's 4th edition's basically for them.
Or Pathfinder.
What I will say is 4th edition did do some good rules changes, and I'm going to go off on this rant now. One, because just to kind of prop up 4th edition a bit, because I think 4th edition is okay. I don't think it's as bad as everyone gives it credit for. It's definitely not 5th edition or 3.5, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's in the past, so I don't care.
Well,
that's my opinion.
No, I get it. We say 4th edition introduced short rests though.
Yeah,
and the short rests are now a huge thing in 5th edition. They didn't have that before 4th.
Yeah, but now the warlock keeps asking, "Can we take a short rest?"
That's your own problem. Don't let a warlock in your group.
So don't let Dave in my group?
Yes.
Don't let a warlock in your group that will then just leave your group.
Here's what I was going to complain about, and I wish they brought this back for 5th edition. It didn't have to be right away, but I wish one of the books did it. 4th edition introduced what was called the Horde Battle, and I'm upset that they didn't return because they're very interesting and they're unique ways to do it. And essentially a Horde Battle is just... I'll use goblins as an example. There's a Horde Battle of goblins where the party accidentally steps on a trap and the floor gives out and falls into a room of goblins.
Yeah.
And they're a horde of goblins. And to be a horde, they have to have like a ridiculous number. So roughly 100 goblins. And that's why it's called a horde fight. The gimmick is each goblin in that room has 1 HP. No more, no less. They'll die in a single hit, no matter what. Because I believe in 4th edition, the minimum damage you can deal is 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, to make it unique, they had less damage than a standard goblin, so you're not getting overwhelmed, and unique horde actions that take so many goblins to do. So, for instance, they would have one where it's like, they're going to activate this trap, but it requires 15 goblins to do it.
Okay, I've gimmicked with something similar in my campaign that I'm working on with a couple kobolds I have planned.
You could do it. It's not that you can't. It's just that you have to heavily adjust it. And back in the 4th edition, there was just like, essentially, here's the template to make a horde very easy, and here's things that they'll do, and then here's some pre-made hordes that you can use.
Yeah.
And I just like that as a concept, because then...
Well, we know WotC's opinion of horde. Yes. They just don't like it, so they do it once and get
That's
rid
a magic joke, if you guys don't get that.
I still love horde decks. They're fun.
I just kind of wish it'd come back, because the only thing my only gripe with D&D, you can't do any, like, big fight an army type things easily.
No, you cannot.
Like, any
you have
story...
to do a lot of... That's required on the DM's thing if he wants to do something like that.
And it's a lot. That's why I said you can't do it easily, and that's why there's no, like, we're going to go and deal with this army, because it's not meant for that.
Part of it, they could just use that, or even just have that one entity be a monster, like, turn all those goblins into one congruent monster.
They do have things like Swarm of Snakes.
Yeah. Just do that, because I've seen that, and it's just how the DM explains it makes it seem like something else. Like I did with Gorgie.
Yeah, well, the thing was with the horde battles, right?
I'll explain Gorgie after this.
A horde battle compared to like fighting like a swarm of snakes. The swarm of snakes gets one action. And if
Not
you
if you jigger it a little bit.
well, yeah,
I always jigger
you
monsters.
have to do stuff then, but like Horde of Snakes is technically one monster, so it's also affected by spells. So if you try to say charm the Horde of Snakes, you're charming the entire horde, not one snake in the horde.
Yeah.
And that's like the swarm. So like that's the thing was in a horde battle, each of those goblins is individually its own creature.
I would think that some of them need to be grouped because having...
Oh, it was a lot to work.
For a spellcaster, I would shit myself if I came into a horde battle in 4th edition.
You loved it as a spellcaster.
Well, no, I meant if I only had single target spells.
Oh, yeah, no, but like back then you didn't. Also, it really helped because previously, like, people had a few, like, ranged, like, a area of effect spells, like Fireball.
Yeah.
But how many did people really carry? Aside from Fireball, not a lot.
Yeah.
And so it really gave help to a lot of those AoE spells, and even today, there's not a lot of... like a tons of use for AoE spells because you're typically
DMs are
fighting.
using them wrong then, and so is equal parts player.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you're stupid.
Yeah, it's fair.
So yeah, right. So real quick, after 3.5 was the most popular edition of Dungeons & Dragons, 4th edition happens. People don't like 4th edition, and then Pathfinder happens because a group of people, I don't know who, decide...
They aren't this, but I can describe it this way. This format feels like an autistic person would love it because of how much math and so much micro just number calculations work in this. Because I like it. I like playing the game, and I'm autistic, so I could say that. No, but it just feels unique, and it feels more number boiled down, and it's just easier to look at when I did first jumping into Dungeons and Dragons.
It's a lot more numbers, and that's why it sucks.
It's also because it gives you numbers for stuff that D&D wouldn't really give you a direct number on, so DM's sitting there figuring out, oh god, he wants to do this. I can either make it this, or I can make it this.
Yeah, or you could be a good DM and improvise.
Which I do that.
Right. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying
I'm also
if you're going to get held up in the numbers, go to Pathfinder.
If I'm going to do Pathfinder again as a DM, I'm going to do a monster hunting style version of it. Because I feel like that's the best way to do it for me.
Probably.
Because I like the monsters a lot. Yeah, I know you hate numbers.
Look, just because I failed math in college doesn't mean shit.
Quick rollback on Gorgie. These guys...
Yep.
Before we started doing the podcast,
I'm gonna cut my pizza
they tested some of my version of my 5th version of this campaign, because this thing has gone through 5 renditions. This one seems to be the most successful. I made my own game local to a countryside that are kind of little relative drip-offs from the Dwarven Mountains that have Dwarven heritage, and they made a game called Gorgie.
We're so professional.
It's extreme kickball dodgeball, essentially. The best way to boil it down. You use a dex and strength attack, or strength or dex attack to fling the ball at your opponent, and first one to fall down loses. You can choose to buffet the attack, though, and use a con save. If you fail the con save, you're knocked on your ass. And you get like 3 knockdowns before you're out. Like, you either have to be knocked down 3 times for a loss, or you have to just lose your health.
That's fair.
And that's just how I played the game. This guy played it, Michael, and he ended up enjoying it.
It was an awesome game, and I ended up whipping the ball at Ty, who is a monk who deflected missile back.
Yeah. And that's
be ready for that deflected missile. This is your own fault.
D&D, you could just do some fun, goofy crap. Same with Pathfinder. Those are both the fantasy-style systems that I'll label.
There's a few more.
There's a few more.
None of them are as well known or as popular, but
they're also more unique of fantasy. These ones are true, like, you have a sword, you have a shield, you can maybe cast magic, and you're whipping your ass at a Hydra.
Well, one that recently came out is, a lot of people may know, Dark Souls just released their game.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one next.
That real fast, because I mentioned it and I was going to talk about it. I mentioned Pathfinder's more popular overseas, briefly, and the reason why is Wizards of the Coast being an American company, they don't want to spend time and effort into translating any of their stuff.
we know this as Magic players. Magic is not as well sold in the rest of the world because Wizards, for like every 10 American boxes, they'll make one Japanese. For every 10 Japanese boxes, they'll make one Russian.
Whereas Pathfinder hires out people to translate their entire thing.
So because of that, Dungeons and Dragons is a similar concept. They make far less books that they make in other languages. Okay, now you can continue. Pizza's done, by the way.
Nice.
Good pizza. From there, we could talk about the Dark Souls RPG that came out.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at the book lately, but
I've peeked through it. It feels like the same experience. I would describe it as a similar Pathfinder system because you're having a similar difficulty climb in terms of monsters, and you ideally want to mid-max to what your playstyle is going to be to beat that boss.
well, yeah, that's what Dark Souls basically.
Yeah, that's Dark Souls to a T. So it's just Dark Souls on paper.
Yeah. So if you enjoy playing
There's no
Dark
tea in
Souls,
Dark Souls.
I'm gonna hit you.
I'm gonna knock over your pizza.
You should have seen the look on his face.
It's partially because it's Porcherabo face. That's why. No, it was because I was thinking of trying to prove you wrong and I couldn't because of Elden Ring. There's no T. There's only G's, R, and J. I think.
Yep.
J.R. No, that's Tolkien. Shit. My brain hurts. Anyway.
I meant on a literal sense, the word Dark Souls does not contain a T
that's
in
fair.
it. But yeah, sure, whatever you're going
Oh,
for.
Dark Souls 3. Tarkus.
I also thought that too when he was like, I also then just thought of Elden Ring, and I was like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't contain a T.
Yeah. But Dark Souls 2 has 3 has Tarkus.
He's from JoJo.
No, shit. He's not in 3, he's in 1.
I got Michael.
You did get Michael. But yeah, from what we've examined,
Am I wrong?
It's
No,
similar
you're
enough
not.
to Pathfinder in terms of the type of combat you're going to do. Less roleplay, more combat, and focus on mid-maxing. There's going to be some RPG elements, or role-playing elements, but not as much as Pathfinder or D&D.
You see, Avatar got one? Just got an RPG?
Yeah. I have
Which
to pick that up.
Avatar?
Airbender?
No, I didn't actually.
Not Blue People? It's at the one card shop near us.
Cool.
That's why I keep seeing it.
I guess we can talk about the Avatar one right now and just say it exists.
I have no idea. I haven't picked it up.
I was thinking more the Yakuza one. You
want to talk about that one?
kickstarted.
Sure. I'll preface this with I'm a huge fan of any mob story. Any at all. I just love the mob stories. So, Yakuza. Yes, Yakuza, not Yakuza. I know everyone's going to get pissed and say, it's pronounced Yakuza. I'm going to say Yakuza, and the reason I'm going to say Yakuza is because there's a video game franchise called Yakuza, and even in the English dub, they say Yakuza, not Yakuza.
Yeah. Also, who cares? With
exactly.
every language and culture, there's 16 pronunciations for one word.
Yeah.
I've had someone get mad at me when I said Yakuza, and they sat there for like 10 minutes going, what are you talking about? I'm like, Yakuza,
I had
dude.
someone get mad at me during...
Desa.
Yeah. It should be pronounced Greek, so it's Thesa. Cool. You can be that guy. I'm just going to say Thassa because it's easier and sounds equally as Greek. Have a good day. Or like people getting mad when you say Hercules or Heracles. Mm-hmm. Both are fine. Both make sense to me. Heracles more. I like Heracles more because he was named spitefully kind of after Hera, and Hera hates that shit.
Yeah.
And that's just funny to me, but still, I could take either. I don't care enough. I know who you're talking about. Anyway, continue.
So,
we know you're talking about the Yakuza.
So, for instance, I'm a big fan of Sega's Yakuza games. That's what I was talking about there. So when I saw that there was going to be a D&D book, I kickstarted it. Not D&D, but like a tabletop RPG book. Yeah.
Did you start recording? Shit! That's a perfect way to say it. We had a bit of a small issue.
I didn't catch the full thing, unfortunately.
That's amazing.
We're back.
We're
What
keeping
happened?
this in. Fuck yeah.
What happened is, I slid my computer forward. We recorded this all on my laptop, and the microphone stopped working, and I went on for about a minute before realizing. So,
Oh, that's funny.
the last thing I said was I kickstarted a tabletop RPG that's about being in the Yakuza, and it cut off halfway through that sentence.
Because Corvix Corax is Batman.
That's what was going to be said, but half of it got cut off, so I think I only got is Batman.
Oh, that's great. Alright.
So, alright, back to what I was talking about.
That's a blooper-worthy thing.
I have a tabletop RPG called Picaresque Roman.
Sounds nothing like a mob
Picaresque means something, and I don't know what, but I know it's used in Persona 5 as well frequently.
That's fair.
Roman? Don't really know why it's called a Roman.
Gangster Caesar, that's why. For Caesar.
Wait, I'm stupid. Does picaresque just mean like hand? Picaresque, relating to an episodic style of fiction dealing with adventure of a rough and dishonest but appealing hero.
Wow.
Okay then.
There you go.
So either way,
So this is a role-playing game about rough and dishonest heroes, I guess.
well, you're in the mob. You're in the
Yeah,
mob.
you're mobs.
Yakuza.
You're an anti-hero.
Picaresque Roman, a requiem for rogues, is the full title.
It's a game about being a Yakuza.
There's a bit more to.
No, there's more to it, I know.
Yeah, but it's basically about being a Yakuza. There's a few class types.
All I know is I wanted to be Mob Brute number 2.
Mob Brute number 2.
Oh, fuck, are some of my pages like fucked up?
Stop commenting it.
No, they're
Maybe
like.
if you didn't store them in the kitchen.
Shut up!
Anyway, that joke, the mob thing too. One day they just came up to me and I was
Me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
it's
just
it was
me.
Ty.
You
It was
were.
Ty.
We were living here still.
Oh yeah, we were. And I grabbed my copy of Yakuza and I was playing it. And he said something like, "Yeah, we made some Asian joke because I look partially Asian. Yeah, you look like Thug number 2 from that game because you look just different enough and unique not to be the mainly used one." And I just started laughing. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna own it.
So you pick. So when you go to make a character, you pick a gig, as it's called, which is essentially your class, and then there's 21 side gigs, and these are essentially like almost like a subclass, but they function on any of the main gigs. You could be a Yakuza, an info broker, a swindler, a heartbreaker, or a gambler, and then the side gigs are hilarious. You could be a brawler, an academic, a procurer, a student, a hero, a lawyer, an escort, an artist, a loan shark, an investor, a scion, a magician, a disciple, a scholar, a paramour, a movie star, scum, a hacker, an idol, a private eye, or a politician.
Jesus.
I have another one that's similar but slightly different.
From what this?
No, an RPG.
Holy shit.
Because it's a good one, and it's based off kind of...
It tells
a
me
different system.
on the sidebar of this, on page 5, it tells me the definition of picaresque.
Wow.
I'm not joking. By the way, here's the stats: violence, insight, charm, luck, and capital. And capital is just money.
This game
Yeah,
is
no.
game is similar to the one I'm going to mention, actually. This one's called Blades in the Dark.
I don't think I know that.
It's a strange RPG. I don't remember if it uses die roll or anything. If it does, it uses very minimal of it, but you do a lot of like risk taking and stuff like that. You bet coin, do other stuff, and then negative effects. Sanity is involved. But quick theme of the game. Think of Dishonored. There you go. It's Dishonored, the game. There are small little mob factions and a dysfunctioning government. Shoddy police. Leviathans. Because my character, when I first played, and my friend Paul brought this to me, same Paul from earlier, he brought it to me and said, "Yeah, this is Dishonored. I know you really like that game." I'm like, "Sweet. I want to be the gruff big guy, and I just want to be known as Razor. I want to be an ex-Leviathan hunter." He's like, "Sweet, you got it." And my signature weapon was a giant cutthroat razor.
Of course it would be.
It worked. I was a big buff dude, and when that character died, because your character can die super easy in that game, I came back as his brother. Or, like, not a real brother, but like a blood bond brother. Like, yeah, we worked on the same fleet together.
You drink sake together.
No, because this is Britain, England. So we just drank tea together. And bad ale. And his name was Weasel.
Of course it was.
He was also a melee character. He was like one of those guys that was... Is that my phone or... Oh no, I think that's your phone. Sorry, one of our phones is going off. I have my car in the inspection, so I gotta do that. I'll go on about this. Weasel was a little... let me phrase this. Where Razor was a big guy that can get into fights, because he would just go into the fighting pits at night and just get any sort of stress out so he could forget about his past about dealing with the Leviathans. Weasel was that guy I could best describe as who wants to get into fights that looks like he shouldn't get into fights.
Nice.
Razor was deep-voiced and burly. Weasel's like, come at you, yeah!
So he's a New Yorker?
Kind of. I forget Weasel's voice, but it was just as, like, he sounded like he smoked and drank for 16 years before becoming an adult.
So, that's fair. I guess we'll move on to a new one then.
Yeah, or we could just talk about some stories now and then add some...
Well, while Michael's gone taking care of his phone call, I'll just run through a few that I've kickstarted.
Okay. We could also mention the JoJo one again.
Yeah. So there's one that we haven't played that I wanted to called Vital Hearts. And it's...
Okay, I'm back.
It's basically... Vital... Sweet, thanks. Just dropped that there. Vital Hearts was basically... you play two characters at once. You have a standard human version of the character. And then you have... essentially almost like video game style, like their avatar.
Okay, I thought this was going to take a much different turn, but I'm glad you said that. I think you know which turn I was thinking.
I don't, to be honest.
Furry.
No.
I mean, you can still get there with avatar, but at the same time, like they're werewolf shape or some shit like that.
Yeah, no, this was like made so that you could essentially play like almost like
Persona.
Persona was one, but like
Custom Robo.
Blue Dragon.
Kind of. Maybe.
I was just joking about the Custom Robo.
Like Log Horizon.
I just wanted to prove I can say the name.
Ready Player One, things like that.
Yeah. I gather that. You have your main character who does all the stuff out of game, and then your avatar would probably do most of the combat.
Mm-hmm. So, I then also one that we never played, and I said we really should.
The Gundam one?
Yes, Savage Tokusatsu.
Fuck yeah.
And the whole concept is about giant robots.
I'm fine with that.
Or there is a supplement if you want to do things instead of play giant kaiju.
That's even better.
That's awesome.
Like... Giant robots are cool. I got into giant robots before I got into giant monsters.
I'm the opposite of you.
But giant monsters... That's because of my childhood was weird.
Look, I'm sticking with giant robots.
Giant robots are cool. Especially clone mommies. Those are my favorite giant robots.
Keep your Evangelion in the anime episode. Yeah, we didn't...
I just like the design more.
That one's unique because instead of using dice, it uses a deck of cards.
There you go. I think there is an Evangelion RPG now that I think about it.
I think so. I actually have the official deck of cards for that, but any deck works. It just has their art on it. I got another one called Fight with Spirit. That's about playing sports.
I like that.
It's just meant to
Can
be
I
like...
just be part of the sumo club?
I don't believe they have sumo.
Pretty please, pretty please.
It's just meant to play like a Haikyuu or like a Kuro's basketball.
I figured that.
Or whatever this Captain Tsubasa.
No, I want the one where you aggressively play Chinese checkers.
So hang on here, I'm pulling up.
Or whatever that
This one's up for pre-order, by the way. I'm still waiting on my Kickstarter for this.
not Chinese checkers, but the Chinese or Japanese version of chess. It's its own thing. I think it's a Goji? No, it's not Goji.
No.
So
You know what I'm talking about, though. It's in Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
The main bad guy gets obsessed with it for no fucking reason.
So get this.
Main bad guy in Ant Arc.
They have Chimera Ant.
Yeah.
So this one, Fight with Spirit, has the team sports of basketball, volleyball, baseball, cricket, roller derby, ice hockey, water polo, and football.
We have to play cricket.
With the ability to make your own.
Water polo.
Individual
It's not
sports,
cricket, dude.
fencing, chess, tennis, and swimming.
I just want to play aggressive lacrosse and take out my teammates' legs.
And then they didn't get this much on the stretch goals for Kickstarter, but I'm hoping they do at some point. Where they
What's
said
that? Stretch goals? Kickstarter?
asynchronous
Dwarves in trouble.
asynchronous sports, which includes gymnastics, ice skating, archery, and the Battle of the Bands.
Fucking hell. Battle of the Bands. You always need a Battle of the Bands somewhere in a high school slice of life anime.
It's true.
Last one I have, Knights of the Round Academy.
What the fuck?
It's giant robots again, but this time,
Did not expect that.
but this time you're in medieval fantasy high school.
I'm
I expected that.
Do magical girls power the robot? Yeah, okay. They don't, but they should.
They should.
Magical girl core activated.
Knights of the Round Academy is a story-driven RPG inspired by shonen anime, super unreal robots anime, and 90s nostalgia. And Japanese school comedies.
That's fair. We could also talk about the anime RPG system. It's a basic system where you can apply any anime to it.
You're talking about Besom, right?
Yeah.
Besom is short for Big Eyes, Small Mouth.
Which
And
is
it's
funny.
just meant to be an anime thing.
Yeah, an anime RPG
BESM.
module. We debated using it for JoJo plus some rules for stands.
I just put this together when I said BESM out loud. It's
not
one letter off from being BDSM.
Replace in letter, but yes.
Yeah.
E
Yeah, that's
needs
like,
to be a D.
yeah, it's one letter off.
Yeah. Well,
A,
one
B,
letter off
C,
makes
D,
it...
E. E to D.
Gotcha, that's what you meant. I thought you forgot how you spelled the word to begin with for a minute. No. I picked up what you put down just now, okay. I got scared. Can he not read on top of not being able to count?
Hey, fuck you.
Felt like the Aaron Hansen, Dan Avedon thing. Oh, eyes is spelled whatever. Yeah, he won't look at
What
me
are we
now.
talking about?
We're talking about RPGs.
You're right.
and
Let's
then
talk about a new one.
Me thinking you fucked up
You know
on
what?
something.
Let's just start on stories.
Well, hey, before we get to stories, we got just under 30 minutes left.
I think we cleared most of the RPGs.
One more. There's one more big one. I'm not going to talk about things like the JoJo one. I know some people like Seven Seas, which is about pirates, but it's kind of weird.
I mean, sure, you could do that
We
with
should
D&D.
probably mention Dread.
Dread is... Dread is
The only other one that I think that's large.
It's similar in the sense where it doesn't have dice rolls.
It uses Jenga.
Yeah.
Dread, well, it uses any high-tension game. Jenga, I've seen it done with...
Can you play with others? I've only known Jenga.
Yeah, there's Jenga, the fucking stick game where you're pulling sticks out of the pile.
Oh, that one, yeah. Oh, that one's cool. We should do it.
Fucking Pool. I've seen fucking Dread Pool.
That sounds
We should do it with Yeti and my spaghetti.
There you go.
Let's actually explain what Dread is.
The ice game.
Oh, that's a good one, too. Let's actually explain what Dread is. So Dread is supposed to be a modern-day horror campaign.
Or sci-fi.
I was
I almost said
sci-fi,
Sonic.
right? Yeah.
Or Sonic.
I looked at his hat and I got scared.
I wear a Sonic hat. It's a modern-day or sci-fi horror setting where the goal is to just survive.
Or even thriller.
Survive for typically a day or a night.
A high-tension genre that you would apply to this to where pulling a Jenga brick is 10 times more nerve-wracking than it normally is.
Yeah, the big concept is, I'm going to use Jenga as the example because it's the one I know most people use.
It's
but apparently there are.
easiest.
So essentially it goes like this. The DM crafts a story, and all the players in it are essentially characters in essentially a horror movie. You set up this Jenga tower, and whenever any decision or choice has to be made and someone says, I'm going to do this, if it's anything that has a
skill requirement.
Yeah. So basic things like I turn the light switch on. You don't need to worry about that. But if you're like, I quickly catch the baseball, you have to pull a block from the Jenga tower. And at any point, if the tower topples over, whoever was pulling or knocked the tower over
Dies.
is going to be killed.
And the DM's favorite part is figuring out, depending on what they did, how stupid the death is.
And possibly bringing them back as one of the villains.
Yeah.
Because I've
Now,
seen it.
this can also be done with lighter tone stuff. Like, I once did one for fun with an anime convention as the theme. And it was like dating sim-esque. I just remember she failed
Monster Prom?
Huh?
Monster Prom?
Well, Monster Prom. No. It was some cosplay section, and she failed the pull, which made it 10 times funnier. Because then you heard the DM trash talk her cosplay, and she's a cosplayer naturally. So she got low-key actually offended and went off on the judge.
That's amazing.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
But back to the actual, good portion of
one
Dread.
of the interesting parts, depending on the situation, like I've seen people do werewolves, zombies, ghosts, various things like that, and then it goes, now you're the werewolf, go kill your old friends. Or now you're the zombie, go kill your old friends.
And you don't have to pull from the tower, you just tell the DM what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And the DM will decide if that'll work. In another interesting, important part of Dread, before we kind of wrap up and start going on to stories, Dread has a very unique character creation setup. And rather than go over it, basically, you have to go to their website, and you fill out like this small questionnaire, and they give you your stats back.
Or the DM does it.
Mm.
Like, I would describe it almost Oregon Trail. Like, you pick your class, what items are you bringing with, what's your character's name, age, background.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But yeah, that's Dread. I've played a few occasions. Do you want to segue to stories?
Yeah, let's start on stories.
start
We
stories.
have roughly about 30 minutes left.
I feel like between all of us, we can nail in a really good story.
Stories.
What do we start with?
I could do a quick one with Dread as a good example.
Good. Yeah, we'll start with Dread.
Yeah.
Where I was doing like a unknown alien on, like, I was the engineer, I think, and I was just going to investigate this barge. That was just like, sweet, we could scrap it for metal or see what's on it. And then part of my skill check was to just check electrical. And there's a chance I could shock myself, but because I'm awesome at Jenga and rarely die, I almost always make it.
Comes out awesome at Jenga.
I don't understand why. I've only lost at Jenga when I tilt it over. Which reminds me, I'm going to say that the next story quick.
Don't tilt the Jenga tower over.
No, because you could do a self-sacrifice.
Yeah,
you automatically win, but you lose.
No, I know what the self-sacrifice is.
Yeah, but that was the example for the space one. The funny one of Dread is I did a self-sacrifice where we went to an ancient temple. I think I was like a Nazi or something, and it was just... It was...
I was not expecting you to do a self-sacrifice as a Nazi.
There's a reason. I have to set it up. This was, think of it, Indiana Jones style.
Yes.
And one person had to guarantee be in that place all time, and the person who was in there escaped when we weren't looking.
Did you say Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Like what?
No, this was the style, like, people going into Forbidden Place, the curse upon this, like, little grove was, okay, you can go into the grove and you'll technically live forever, but you have to remain there. And one person has to remain there all the time. It's like, Superfly.
I was just going to say that from JoJo.
So the guy escaped, and my conditions was, he said, okay, I'll stay here, but you must pass down the name of the glorious Third Reich. And then I knocked down the Jenga tower because whoever touched it was going to lose. And theoretically, I won by losing because I was immortal, made my own Third Reich, because eventually I got enough worshippers to come back to me and be my intermediaries. I never left and lived forever.
Of course.
I won by being a Nazi. Not many people can say that.
No, I don't think anyone could say that.
I don't think many people would want to say that, except maybe Strawheim.
Yeah.
He got the JoJo All-Star Battle R, by the way.
I'm upset how he plays, because he plays like trash. But yeah, I'm done with the Dread
You
story.
think he plays like trash?
He does not
He's
play
like top
well.
tiering like
Oh, is
tournaments
he?
right now. Yeah.
Man, people understand him better than I did when I picked him up.
I thought he was like disgustingly good.
Oh, he was probably too weird for me to understand at the point.
It's probably it. He's a lot of ranged attacks.
That's probably why I don't like range.
Yeah, that's it.
But anyway, fighting game
Play
not.
Caesar.
Let's go to
reason.
next RPG story. Because I got a few under my belt.
Let's do one where we're all there.
Oh,
Which
I just
one?
water blood.
Oh yeah, that one. We were doing one. I just joined in on Michael's brother Dave.
It was at our college.
At our college, we're just doing a random campaign.
Harlan and I were late joiners.
What was this the one where I played as Trogvar?
This was Drogvar and I was Pochor after Ty killed me previous.
And
Hey,
that
that's
whole
your own
thing
fault.
is based off of some random Adult Swim skit named Tigtone.
Tone.
And that thing was fucking great. We were laughing at that for the longest time. I still own it and want to rewatch it now. But we would just do ridiculous shit. Like, alright, there's a dinosaur over there.
Let's tame it.
I'm going to throw the flat of my blade at it, force feed it grass until it's my friend, then ride the dinosaur to victory.
Let's real quick start with Michael mentioned how I killed him, and I said this is your own fault. They showed up to like it was our second or third.
To be
session.
fair,
Because I died first, then I became a vampire. And then we went
to be
the
fair,
town.
this is the DM's fault for going. Yeah, no, let's just throw you guys in right now.
I don't say it's not.
Yeah, the
But
DM,
so what happened was they
he-
showed up like session 2 or 3 of our campaign, and
Dave is fast paced.
he was like, "Just let's put him in." I know you don't have your characters ready, but you weren't gonna get until the next one. Let's throw you in now. Okay. We do like a little bit of light role playing. Combat starts, and I go first. It wasn't just the 3 of us; there was some more. I go first, and I rolled a 1 on my attack, and so that is a critical fail. And in D&D, bad stuff happens. So
Yeah.
I have these special crit fail and crit succeed dice that I use, and so we were using that. So I went crit fail dice. Let's go. Kill ally or crit ally.
Ally.
And I was like, "Can I pick the ally?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And I chose to swing just right into Michael.
To be fair,
Give me a
I
second,
did
I'm
not
getting-
have a thing.
We're getting a lot of calls. Give me a second. I'm getting a call. Continue the story.
So
Alright.
he swung his sword right into me. Now I don't blame him because I didn't have my character ready. Everybody else did,
It was
except
also-
for Harlan.
I made it because I have no life and just make random characters.
Well, you also didn't have your character ready yet.
Oh, I
We were
thought I
just-
had a little bit of it.
No. We just only had like the idea of our
Oh yeah,
characters.
the idea and no stats because he said,
Yeah.
just come with that and they'll be fine.
Yeah. And so what happened was he rolled his crit succeed die after that. He got insta kill. So the insta kill obviously instantly kills you. My brother thought this was a good idea. He made Pochor make a bond with a demon lord.
But technically, he offered you it, and you decided, yeah, Poacher's going to do that.
Poacher's gonna do that, but Poacher's not smart.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, our intelligence on our characters is less than 10.
Yeah, it
Fine.
was.
And I think yours was less than 5.
Mine was actually like a 4.
Oh, yeah.
I was 1 away.
Mine was 8.
I was 1 away from a 3.
So, either way, he comes back to life, and then we go palling around for a bit, get to a large city, and then we have the best encounter of our lives, the 3
Hey
of
guys,
us.
you So before this, we got items that
Oh,
turned out to be
Random
cursed.
cursed items.
Right. What did yours even do? I just remember
Mine was a ring that increased my strength, I think. It did something minor, but then made me a vampire.
Yeah.
Not like a full vampire, so he didn't have like the fangs or the ability to like do any cool vampire stuff. He
No,
now needs
but-
to consume blood.
And I'm weak to the sun.
Yes.
Yes.
You were not. Yeah, you got actively worse in sunlight.
And meanwhile, I just got a bow that just sung.
I got net of magic missile.
No,
Wild
you
magic.
Wild magic.
That was
not-
right.
It was wild
I
magic.
killed the final boss on net of magic.
You
Yeah.
also revived a
Bees.
horde of hornets.
If, for those of you who don't know what wild magic is, there's a special type of sorcerer called the wild magic sorcerer, and there's a table, 100 effects. Whenever the sorcerer goes to cast a spell, they roll the die, and whatever it comes up on is the number on this table of 100 random effects.
Most of them are fine, or fair number of them are fine. A good number of them are bad.
And
They're
there's
all
some
bad.
funny ones on there that just basically do nothing.
Yeah,
So
like you lose all your hair.
your hair immediately
like
falls
that
out,
one.
then immediately regrows back.
Oh my! I know the one where
Summon
your
a
hair
duo
falls
drone.
out and it will grow back over the next few days.
That's probably it. Summon Duodrone.
Yep.
Summon a random celestial for a minute. Warps you to a new plane for like 10 seconds, and then you come back.
Oh, you're reminding me of a wild magic thing.
So
on my
either way-
end. But let's continue.
So either way, I have a thing in D&D where I really like nets. I think they're one of the best items in the game, and no one else thinks so.
I mean, I'm trying to make a net and trident build in D&D.
Yep.
Trust me, it's
Fun.
really good if you know what you're doing.
Just have to do a lot of fishing for feats.
So either way, I have this net. I get it's now a net of like +2 or +3.
Yeah, it's something
Yep.
stupid.
And then whenever I threw the net out, it would cast a random wild magic spell. We'll get to the final boss in
It
a
doesn't
bit.
instantly materialize in your hand too, so you have.
I had
for
it.
the
I
next
had it
one.
on a chain,
Oh, that's what it
so I
was.
just
So you
pulled,
just pulled
the
it
chain
back.
back.
I guess this is the part where I chime in.
Yep.
Because I need blood, and I'm told, yeah, you're starving, and you have negative effects from lack of blood as well of sunlight. And I'm like, shit. Well, Trogvar is pretty good at charisma. We're gonna try and schmooze one of the ladies.
Well, first you went. Do I smell blood?
Oh yeah, I went.
then-
Do I smell blood?
And then the DM was like yes. And then you sort of followed the scent, and we were like, hey buddy, where are you going? And you didn't say anything. So like,
Let's follow him.
yeah. So the two of us follow, and then you end up at the like mansion in this, the only mansion in the city, and you're like, I smell blood in there.
So I tried.
And her window is open.
I climbed through the window, and
You didn't
I
even
don't-
get
you
up
didn't even
there.
get to the window. You were
No.
climbing the wall, and the
Oh, yeah,
guards
that's right.
saw.
And the guards went, oh!
Yeah, then the guard saw us, and you're like on
the
the,
guard
wall.
didn't even get brave. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
And I just went, you know what? Honesty is the best policy. You know what? I just need me some blood. That girl in there has some blood. I just really need a little bit of it to be good.
while this was happening, me and Michael successfully hid in the bushes.
Which is the dumbest thing we've ever done. I'm just saying.
Do you know half the
It's
reason
coming
why
up.
I failed or got caught? Partly more
Why is
because
that?
I failed my athletic checks to climb the
That's
window.
right.
Yep.
But then he's like, the guards are like, cool, thank you for telling us. Put your hands behind your back. And I'm like, no, and I tried to run.
And then I yelled from the bushes, "Book it!" And then me and Michael got up and ran after him.
Keep in mind.
Only to realize later that we probably should have stayed in the bushes because the guards didn't see us.
Exactly!
Book it!
Yeah, so then we're running, and I then said, you know what we're doing? We're running and going, woo, 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 smacking each other as we're trying to Three Stooge away.
Oh, jeez. At some point, I remember being under a wagon.
Yeah,
And a giant
Yes.
spell going off and killing all the guards,
Not
and
a
we had
spell.
to run. It
Not a
wasn't
spell.
No, I'll
The-
cover
the-
that part because I remember that one.
I also remember that one.
So what happens then is we run,
jeez.
we pass by another guy in our campaign who's a dragonborn.
And then we passed by a pub. I stop at the pub.
Yeah, Michael decides to run to the pub. Me and Harlan decide to run to our special wagon we had that had our stuff on it.
Yeah.
So then we know the next thing that happens is the guards pass our dragonborn and they're like, and the DM's like, "Have you seen Three Stooges around here?" and he holds out his hand. They give him like 5 gold, and he's like, that way. And when you sold us out, you piece of shit.
And he just this outing game. He's just like, absolutely.
Yeah. So then, to make it better, me and Harlan are now hiding in the wagon, and Michael's hiding in the.
No,
inn.
you were in it. I was under it.
Yeah, Harlan hid under the wagon. I decided, grabbing onto the bottom, I decided to wheel the wagon, with our horses, over to the gates, and I was just going to leave town. I'm like, they're not chasing us outside town. The gates were closed, and I tried to talk my way into letting them open the gates, and eventually when the guard wouldn't budge, I was like, whatever, I'm just going to leave the wagon here. See if the guards find us at the gates. The guards found us at the gates, which at that point, by the way, they didn't recognize me, and I was like, I'm just hanging out, and they're like, okay, can we check your wagon? Sure. We found the guy we're looking for. He's under the wagon. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing down there. We're going to take him away now. Okay. Because I was like, there's nothing he can do. But they don't want me. And then, because we had a small girl child companion traveling with us, who was attached to a demon.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
The demon appears, warps the girl over to the wagon, along with the paladin, because she was staying in the same room, and he's now just screaming because he's now very concerned and confused. And at this point, by the way, once they decided to take Harlan, I was like, and these guys showed up, I'm like, yeah, look, I know you're not going to believe me, but, like, we got this magic god demon man, and he's just going to, like, obliterate all of you if you don't let this go.
Oh, keep in mind, the paladin's the same guy who sold them out, the Dragonborn.
Yeah. So, and the guard's like, it's not going to fucking happen. And then they did it, and then the demon guy showed up, and then appeared, and they all saw him, oh shit! I was like, I told you. You didn't listen. I knew you wouldn't, but I told you anyways. And then he basically just like, they just all faded out of existence entirely.
No, it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, it was bad. And then
I think like it was telekinetic, like spine was being ripped.
Oh yeah,
from back,
it looks like a bad horror movie. And then I was like, that was easier than I thought.
I think I just ended to go, yay, blood!
Yeah, and then you got your blood. Then, the best part, on our way out of town the next morning, as, like, people were just, like, crowded in the streets, we look up into the, like, the second floor of, like, a row of buildings that was all, like, houses near the gates.
Yeah.
And there's a kid there that's watching it, and he recognizes because he saw us the night before and saw the demon. And you and me are looking at him waving like idiots.
I don't even think Harlan was I think you said you were waving with a severed hand from one of the guardsmen.
Yes. I was holding a severed hand. Hi!
Yeah, and then we're like, we just terrorized that kid.
I can't remember what Trogmore was.
Shit.
I lost that character sheet. I know he wasn't human.
Warrior? Oh, that's you, man. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So, I guess I'll
Let's just continue with that campaign.
I guess I'll explain Net of Magic Missile.
I mean, were you going to go just right to the final boss? I was going to get to
I also
Pochor's
want to
final
describe
hours.
two of my Pathfinder adventures after this.
If you want to. I didn't think you wanted to go over that one.
So, I mentioned that Pochor made a pact with a demon, indicating that he will be constantly revived. We stopped at a town previous to entering a dark forest, so I decided to convert all my gold into silver.
To fight evil.
To fight evil.
Because
and to hunt the monsters that Pochor likes to hunt.
He clearly said, this being Dave, he clearly said we were fighting stuff that was weak against silver.
Dave has a bad habit of letting us know what's going to happen like a session or two in advance that he probably shouldn't tell us.
And change it.
So specifically, we heard there will be werebears. And Michael went, perfect. Yeah, he likes to tell us, he gets excited and like, you guys are going to get this magic item. Thanks for telling us. Now we're going to plan around having that magic item.
Yep.
Well before we have it.
Yeah.
Then we get it and then we already have our plan. He goes, what?
Now,
where's the stuff I tell you? I made a Jack Black in my world. Go find him.
I have to.
We have to continue that campaign.
You have a mini ready for him.
So
at least a concept mini waiting. Yeah,
So,
because I don't use regular minis.
I came
use
up with
Hero
a
Forge
plan to piss
to,
off this
concept.
demon so much
Die.
that Dave was just gonna have my character die.
Oh, my new Digimon deck's done, by the way. Continue.
Nice. So what happened was, I got attacked by a werebear. I let it bite me
Because you wanted to be
because
a
I wanted to.
werewolf.
I wanted to be a werebear. My character then screamed, "Pochor is now hunted." Crushed up, I think it was like 5 silver coins, snorted them. Continued that for I think I had like
You had like a few thousand
I had,
silver
like-
pieces, because we had like
I think
bundles upon bundles upon
I
bundles
think
of
We
I
had
gold.
thousands
of
of dollars
dollars
worth of gold and plat. Because he throws it off like it's fucking candy.
yeah, and I just converted all of that into silver. So I think total I died like 100 times just due to silver, and then he just went, "You're done. You're done.
You ran out of silver.
You ran out of
You're
silver."
at 1 HP. This god demon thing that you're connected to is pissed.
Well, no, that's coming up. He just went, "You're done. Okay, go into the cave. There's a door there. Cool. I punch the door. Deals 1 damage to me. The door opens. Nice. And then, our changeling starts tripping balls out of nowhere. Same thing with our paladin. And our changeling has a special match
I think
to keep her from changing.
I think I was the only one that was okay.
No, I was. Because
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I took her
took the
mask.
My character was told to be okay. I wasn't there for that.
No. You were being tortured by the demon.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
I
I
said-
kept popping in and out.
Yeah, because you weren't going to make it.
Oh yeah, I died, and I counted that as a win because he just said you're being sex tortured in hell. I'm like, sweet dog, Trogvar into that. I just that added to Dave's pissed off mood.
I think what added to it was just the fact of me going there. He likes it harder.
Yeah, didn't we just say we high-fived each other
Yeah,
in hell?
every time.
Yeah. Ooh, whip him good. Hit him. Yeah, right there. That's the perfect spot for him.
So, back to my Pochor's final death.
Likes it
The
with hot
101st
wax.
death. I stole our changeling's mask. I put it on. I started tripping balls. The
Yeah, 'cause
demon child...
It paralyzes the user.
The demon child takes the mask off of me. So I go to punch her across the room. The demon shows up, and Dave goes, "It takes me to 1 HP. And then I just look at Ty and go, "Ty, hit me."
Right? And I'm like, no, because then he's going to be pissed at me. But you did injure yourself earlier by punching the giant steel doors.
You punched
Then
the
I
door.
just ran over and punched the door.
So, real quick, to just give you... So then, we trigger the final section, the last dungeon, which is where this was happening.
Because the reason why you're able to specifically do this, because I think Dave's biggest problem was not giving out healing potions or supplying a place where you could restock them.
Yep.
So your way to get more health was to die to get reboosted up to full health. And so you punched the door. No one is able to heal you. You purposely failed all of your checks.
Dave was so irritated at that point that he was like, "You're done. I'm not bringing you back." Yeah, that was what happened.
Because at this point, the session already went on for like 2 hours and nothing happened.
It was like an hour of Michael just killing himself repeatedly. So either way, by the way, this is to mention that
Amazing.
he got so pissed during the werebear fight when Michael did this. He's like, "Fight's done. Good, just move on." So to make this even better, we get to the final
I
dungeon.
didn't even have a say in my final death.
Nope. We get to the dungeon, the final dungeon, and we basically obliterate the monsters on the way in. And he's like, "It was supposed to be challenging. That was like the hardest fight in here. You guys just want to skip to the final fight? Sure." Goes to it. Final boss shows up. Our paladin's like, "Alright, I'm going to attack him." And then he hit for like 400 damage. It wasn't 400, it was like 100 and something. He's like, "What? Why?" And then I was by a turn. He was at like 50, and I'm like, "Throw net." And then the paladin turned to me. He's like, "I swear to God, if you heal him for full." I'm like, "What's the problem? You're just gonna hit him again and kill him." My net cast magic missile, 5th level magic missile, and I obliterate the final boss on net. And no, most other people haven't done that.
No, not many people could say that.
Just so you know, we have ran out of time. So any stories that you want to do, we should probably do it quickly.
I got 2. Both are quick because they're stupid.
Real fast, because I don't know about how much time since it disconnected in the middle.
Did it actually?
No, remember when
okay.
when you were talking about Batman?
Yeah.
That part?
Yeah.
Because it disconnected, so I don't actually know how much time is on the recording anymore.
Oh, fair enough. So the quick
we're
one
gonna
was
stop
my
like
first
timing.
character, Jareem. He had 2 funny bits. First one was when I was first introduced to the campaign, and these guys came into my cave, and I was just a lizard folk. I'm like, who is that? Just doing whatever voice I threw out them. They did something, and they were trying to go into the next cave, and I know my whole point was to make it so they tried not to go to the next cave. I'm like, I wouldn't go there. And he's like, what do you know? And they walk in, a black adult dragon wakes up, incinerates the entire place, and my corresponding cave, and my dying words were, I told you so! The god of that realm liked it so much they brought me back to life, and I became a patron of his, which later in that campaign, he's the god of magic. So they were complaining that this boss fight against a giant spider in a random dungeon was too easy. So my whole point was, I heard you. I do my waddle up and go, grow! And I go back, and technically, if I appease the god well enough, he'll listen to what I say. So I was this mediator of making a harder fight, so that giant spider became patron-sized giant spider.
That's amazing.
And I didn't help a
Awesome.
single bit in the fight. I ran around the labyrinth going, hee.
This reminds me of, I played Macho Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a Minotaur who was in dad clothes, and he ran an orphanage. He was basically the real world inspiration for Jack Black's Nacho Libre. And then I just went, ooh yeah, all the time as Macho Hogan. And I remember the opening thing where we were doing the campaign, and there was a series of D20 rolls.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, there's 10, 15 rolls, and all you had to do is succeed at one of them to stop it. And if you didn't, you were pretty much dead. And immediately, roll 1, ghosts show up, and everyone's acting weird. And Macho Hogan opens the campaign by doing arm wrestling contest in the bar. I rolled the D20, get it 20, and then go, smells fishy. Macho Hogan don't give out his social security number to no one, especially not to no ghosts. And then we laughed about that for a bit, and then we were just sitting, and then I'm just hanging out trying to figure out what's going on as one of my other friends just keeps rolling and failing every time, and he's like, so he gets possessed by ghosts. He was like, shit. And then he walks a bit, rolls again. Then he walks again, rolls again. Then he walks a bit, rolls again. And just keeps going to the point when he's like, you're at the docks and you're about to jump in the water because the ghosts are trying to basically get all these people in the water and drown them. And he's like, shit, this is my last roll. Hey, I have a question. As we're playing over voice chat. So the D20 is the biggest one, right? And we're all like, yeah. It's like, what have I been rolling? He had a D12 the whole time. So the whole time he was like, why can't I? 5. Damn it. Why
12. Damn it.
Yeah, he couldn't get, he wasn't rolling good on the D12, but the fact it was a D12, and he's like, let me just.
Wasn't it
D20.
one roll of did the D20 and he made it?
Yeah, the first roll in the D20 is 17.
I got one more and then I'm done with
All
stories. My secondary character was a monk who was a monkey who used the pole arm. Guess what? It was some Wukong, but I named him Jinshi Wukong, and he was a drunken monk master. At some point in that campaign, I made a deal with 3 separate demons or dark entities. Had the ability to live forever so long as I made a spawn and transported my soul over to that new body, who would always be a Venaran. I was a lust slave to Loth, the demon of Minotaurs,
Yeah.
and a patron to the demon of Demon Lord of Lolth. And then I fought some weird wild magic caster to the point he's a drunk wild magic caster to the point he drinks his flask. Then out of his mouth he spews random spells if he drinks too much. Which 4 of those spells hit me. First one made me a hermaphrodite. I had both sexes, so I could ultimately make anything I want to constantly make a child. I had 4 arms, which increased my multi-attack by 2. I had, blue illusory fire hair. So I was a demon spirit monkey. And then the other one was I can't get drunk. Or like, alcohol doesn't affect me. I'm like, sweet. I rolled all 7s on this slots machine. I'm not pitching anymore. I got the golden corral of just fucking, like, perfect setup.
Golden corral.
I can live forever. I can breed with whomever I want. My charisma checks are insane. And I don't get the downsides of being drunk. Hallelujah. And I get 2 extra attacks.
That's fair. I'm going to bring up one more. It's from David's campaign again. That we
I just want you to
forgot.
think of that roadmap quick for a minute, because I just realized how bad it got. Neutral lawful monk. Evil lawful demon monkey monk.
Continue.
Road.
Sorry, continue.
So, we had our equivalent of, did we leave the oven on in D&D when they went to the final boss
Right.
and they opened a door,
We
which
opened a portal.
the dragon Tiamat was on the other side. And at the end of the campaign, he didn't, our DM, my brother, our DM, just looks at everyone and goes, did you guys close that portal?
No.
And then everyone just looks at each other just with the face of, oh shit.
Yeah, and we destroyed the world.
Because Tiamat and
Just wrecked havoc, and we're like, it's fine.
All is well.
Let's just stay here.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up now,
Yeah, there's some fun stories there.
and well, join us next week.
For a more organized episode.
Not next week. 2 weeks.
Next episode.
Join us next episode, where we talk about character action games. That's what we're gonna do next. And if you don't know what that means, we'll try our best to explain it. But no one can accurately describe what this genre is like. Think of
Kratos.
Devil May Cry,
Bayonetta?
God of
Bayonetta,
War.
sometimes God of War, sometimes people say not God of
Dante's
War.
Inferno.
The Yakuza games, that's one. Metal Gear
Technically
Rising
the Darksiders
Revengeance
series.
Yes, I believe those are counted.
You
Metal
got
Gear
Death,
Rising
War, and
Revengeance, Ninja Gaiden, No More Heroes.
All of those that have a main character that will span between multiple games.
The one of the defining characteristics is that your main character must be cool as shit, and that is literally in the description of what makes this a game
Duke
genre.
Nukem.
No,
Guy from Doom.
maybe no, it's a shooter, but
It's still the same character all
It-
the way through.
That doesn't make it the same.
I'm counting it.
Link's in every fucking Zelda game. Mario's in every Mario game.
It counts.
No, it doesn't. Shit.